Good afternoon, and welcome to this forum, discussion, and debate for open election positions on the Washoe County School District Board of Trustees. We would like to first of all thank everyone here at Jesus Christ Church Spirit-Filled here in Sparks, Nevada for hosting this today. I'm Paul White, the director of RenoElections.org, and this is the first of many forums that we'll be sponsoring. Our goal of our nonprofit foundation is two. One, to get more voters to turn out for our local election. In the primary, barely 25% of registered voters went to the polls. That can never be good. And the second is to not only have more voters, but to have better informed voters. So we are doing everything we can to give all our candidates for school board, for city council, and for the mayor of Reno all the possible options they can to get their positions out to the public. And we have an advertising campaign that directs people to our RenoElections.org website, where all the candidates have shoulder to shoulder on a variety of questions on tough issues, have stated their positions so voters can educate themselves and find the one that is most in line with their beliefs. Sometime back, the Carnegie Foundation, in a report about our public schools, made the following statement: "It is through our schools that the battle for the future of America will be won or lost." I've been engaged in this battle for over 40 years. And I can tell you that as challenging as the situation was when the Carnegie Foundation made that statement, it's gotten significantly worse. To cite a few statistics, and our President John Adams said, facts are stubborn things, that no matter what our feelings are, it doesn't alter them. And the facts of our public schools in our nation today are pretty alarming. Before the end of the school day today, 1,100 teachers will be assaulted by students. About 70% of the students receiving diplomas each year in our high schools nationwide do not qualify for any college classes. Approximately 20% of all the students in any class on any given day on our high school campuses are under the influence of drugs or alcohol. And the sexually transmitted disease rate among our students ranges up anywhere from 15 to 40%. Certainly, these statistics are not partisan. These statistics just point to a system that is critically important to our future. How important? These four people running for the open positions will be the ultimate authority over a school district of 64,000 students. Now, about 4,000 more enter the system each year, and about 4,000 leave. And if each one approximately goes to, say, another family of four, that's 16,000 people in our community per year that are influenced by what goes on or doesn't go on in our public schools. So nothing could be more important to America's future than the position that they're running for. Who's running today? Starting first to my left, we've got Jeff Church is running in the District F at-large opening. Andrew Caudell is running in District C. And Ellen Manetto and Diane Vanderwell are running against each other for an open seat in District B. Now, Jeff's opponent, Jacqueline Calvert, was invited to participate in this forum and others and has declined to respond. Andrew's opponent, Deborah Feemster, the incumbent, was also invited, declined to respond. And of course, Ellen and Diane are running for an open seat, so there is no incumbent there. Well, we heard those national facts. What are the facts about the school district that they're running for here in Washoe County? First of all, the 70% rate not ready for college is that much or higher here in our county. Our school district has run a deficit for 11 years. This is the 11th year that they're spending more than they're taking in. For the last 9 years, and this is a very alarming statistic, a child in any of the Nevada public schools is ranked as having the least likely chance for a successful future of any child in any public school in America. Now, having that, and of course, what's that result in? It results in a ranking for Nevada public schools that is 51st in the nation. So they're not only behind every state, they're behind Washington, D.C. And this is in a nation where the nation itself only ranks 38th in the world. So in one of the worst developed nations for public schools, we are at the bottom. So you can see why this is so important, these forums where you have a chance to hear the candidates' positions. So what we'll do, we're going to have several rounds. The first round will just be a minute or two. Each candidate will have a chance to introduce themselves, tell what their qualifications are for this office, and explain why they wanted to run. And then we'll come back around a second time. Each one will have a chance, and you've heard all these issues that are out there. And I would add, too, some of the issues with Washoe County also include, as the education rate has gone down, fewer children qualifying for college-level classes every year, the graduation rate has gone up, which means that they're simply giving more diplomas every year to more children, less prepared, less educated to go out and do something. We would also have to add, everything comes down to leadership. And again, our foundation's position is totally nonpartisan. We're not saying what to do about it. We're saying what the situation is. Our county schools are led by a superintendent who has seen the rates decline during her tenure, who was rated below average in a recent assessment, and who yet is paid more than any other public official in the county and more than the governor of Nevada. So we'll go down, and on the second round, the candidates will have a chance to explain what positions, what situations in the schools matter to them, what would they do about them, and then we'll take questions from anyone from the audience, and then finally the candidates will give a closing statement. So we'll start with you, Jeff. If you just tell us a little bit about your background, take a minute or two, we'll kind of time this, and what makes you want to be a school board trustee?
Sure. And Paul, you're so well spoken, I think you should be sitting over here, and I'll go home. I hope you consider things in 2020 perhaps. Yeah, my name is Jeff Church. I'm a candidate for Washoe County School Board, District F, which is at large, basically everything east of Virginia Street. I'm retired from the Reno Police Department. I am retired from the U.S. Air Force as a lieutenant colonel, and I did teach at Truckee Meadows, and I do teach seminars nationwide on recruiting. And I've actually taught teacher recruiting for the Clark County, Las Vegas School District. So I do bring a little bit to the table. And as Paul said, he talked about leadership. And somebody on one of the forums said, well, what's a retired cop and Air Force guy have to do with being a school trustee? And I said, I think I know a thing or two about leadership. You know, we're not supposed to be micromanagers, but we are supposed to be leaders. And I've attended many, many school district meetings. I've attended the audit committee. I've read the audit. So that goes well beyond anything that I have on paper as far as my background. I understand. My three core values are exactly the same as the Air Force's core values. Integrity first, service beyond self, excellence in all we do. So the former district attorney, then district attorney of Washoe County, called the school district dysfunctional. Extremely dysfunctional was his quote. I haven't seen a lot of improvement since then, so this is my way of giving back. I'm not in it for the $800 a month that it pays. I wish I got the superintendent's salary of almost $400,000, but I don't. So I'm clearly in it just as my way of giving back, and I hope that answers your questions.
Thank you very much. Diane Vanderwell.
Hello, I'm Diane Vanderwell, and I'm running for School Board Trustee, District B. I happen to grow up in the district that I am running for. I am not a retired teacher and I'm not an educator, but I was raised by a teacher and an educator. My mother was a teacher at Reed High School while I grew up, and she went on to get her master's degree, and she was a principal at Gerlach for 5 years, and came in and was a VP at Spanish Springs before she retired a little over 10 years ago. The reason I'm running, my background, I spent 8 years on the Washoe County Planning Commission, and during that time I also concurrently served 6 years on Truckee Meadows Regional Planning. I served as chair on the Planning Commission twice. Being the only woman, the last 4 years I also served. And then I took 4 years off, and now I currently am the chair of the Sparks Planning Commission, and I'm the past chair of Regional Planning. When we are talking about leadership, I do understand what it takes to be a leader, and as far as my leadership style is, I think everybody deserves a chance to speak their mind, and that we all should work together, and that I'm not any better than anyone else, and we need to work collaboratively to solve the issues that are going on in the school district.
Thank you. Ellen Minetto.
I'm going to stand up because I'm so short. I'm Ellen Minetto. I'm running also for the school district trustee, District B. I was raised by educators from a family of educators, and I am a retired music teacher, just retired a month ago. Taught in the district for 29 years, taught music for 31 years. I have a passion for children, and I believe I could represent our children in the school district. I feel like they are not thought of at all, and we somehow want to rob them of their innocence. And I don't think that's all right. I think I could be a very good representative of our children because I love them. They are everything to me.
And Andrew Caudell.
Yeah, thank you. Andrew Caudell, running for District C, everything north of the city centers, North Valleys, parts of Sun Valley, Spanish Springs, Wadsworth, Gerlach. Very large area. I serve as Director of Academic Services for the football program at the University of Nevada. And in my time at Nevada, we have gone from 122nd to 8th nationally in academic performance. So I know what it's like to work with underprivileged young men, at-risk students that aren't given a chance to succeed in college, and we are succeeding because I care about every student. Every student matters. I'm running for this seat because I'm tired of all the nonsense. I'm tired of this school board failing our community. I'm tired of them ignoring the public. I'm tired of them of telling the people, we know what's best, so you need to sit down and be silent. I'm tired of it. And you don't see Trustee Feemster here because she's a part of the failed system. She can't sit up here and defend herself because the system is failing and she knows it. She just hopes that the people will just vote for her because maybe they recognize her name. We need real change here. We need a district that answers to the public. The superintendent answers to the school board. The school board answers the people. The people are in charge. We need to recognize that, and we need to put them back in charge. So that's why I'm running.
Thank you. Now we're going to go down the candidates and let them pick issues of interest to them that they think would be most important and how they would fix them. So some of the subjects that they have to choose from would include the following. The question comes up when the schools are no good, well, parents should have a right to go to other schools. There's two terms for the sake of the audience to distinguish between. You hear school choice, and that's where schools offer a parent a variety of choices within the school district, still run by the school district, same laws apply. Then there's the concept of vouchers, which would give every parent simply a credit for the amount of money the state of Nevada pays to educate their child, and the parent could stay in the district, could go to another school, could take it to a private school, could take it to homeschool. So you'll hear those. The candidates might want to comment on that. Safety, obviously, is one they might want to speak to. What's the best way to accomplish it at a school? Another one would be values. In the State of the School address, the superintendent lists 12 items that really matter to preparing children for a good future. Many detailed, excellent ideas about academics. Zero mention of values. Someone might want to speak to that. Let's see. So we've got vouchers, that. Safety we mentioned. Curriculum, finally. State of Nevada buys into, no, help me, Common Core. In the Common Core, again, much is said about academics, zero mention of any kind of values. So it's just a matter of what we'll get a chance to see is what matters to the candidates, what they would say about them, what matters, and how they would solve them. So maybe like 4 minutes, which is actually a pretty long time.
All righty.
Okay,
Well,
so
thank you,
Jeff?
Paul. If you go to my website, renotaxrevolt.com, you'll see my basic issues and my solutions that I offer. That's renotaxrevolt.com. And I have that website because I am concerned about the various Reno-Washoe issues that we face as taxpayers. Those 3 issues that you're going to see, and if you get my card, student safety is number 1. We have to make our students safe, and that includes internally from bullying and externally from any threats. So I won't go into a lot of detail on that. Second of all, fiscal responsibility. I am very fiscally conservative, and we have to deal with that. And I brought my little handout. I've got a couple of them. But right here, I talk about Damonte Ranch High School. It cost $35 million to build. Damonte Ranch High School, $35 million. Well, when we voted for that WC1 that made us the highest sales tax in the state, they said it was going to be $110 million. Oops, well, then they said, well, $135 million. I have to stop printing this because I think I put $190 million. Well, I'm wrong. The newspaper just said $200 to $220 million for the next Wild Creek High School. How did we go from $35 million of taxpayer money to $220 million? So I am very fiscally conservative. And number 3, innovative ideas to improve education. When you're number 50 in the states, you can't go worse. So let's be risk takers. Let's see how the good ones do it, and let's come up with some ideas on our own. And my time's about up, so I can't go into each one. But my boss, when I was teaching, said, never use this term again, but I will. Don't tell them. Think outside the box. We have to think outside the box and come up with new and innovative ideas. And I do have a lot of them, and I've met with a lot of people in the community that have shared their ideas. And that's what I'm going to do when I'm on the board.
Diane.
Thank you. Now, did you want us to stay with the 4 that you said, or does it matter?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
You're wide open to whatever's important to you.
Okay, perfect. Well, I can address pretty much what you've said. As far as voucher and school choice, I can share personally, my children they went to Marshall County School District. They were also homeschooled, and they also went to charter school. So I've tried a little bit of everything. So I do believe that there should be choice for the parent that best fits what's going to help educate their student, because I think students learn differently. They either learn hands-on or they learn writing or things like that. And within the school district, they have plenty of charter schools that teach those things. We have career and tech education, we have construction and things like that. And one of the foundations that I am running on, because we have spent many, many years, decades, preparing our students that the only way to succeed is with a 4-year college degree. What we don't tell them, though, is with that four-year college degree comes a whole lot of college debt that they may not be guaranteed to have a job in what they studied and the ability to pay it back. So I am running because 80% of the jobs that are being created in Nevada right now do not require a 4-year college degree, but they do require on-the-job training, certificate training, internships, and apprenticeships. And I think those things need to be introduced to our young people in middle school and high school so that they have a path to becoming a productive citizen of our community. And I will echo Mr. Church's. I am fiscally very fiscally responsible because I am tired of the way things are being spent. I think they can be spent more conservatively. I think that we need to look at duplication of services. I think we need to look at where we're wasting. There's been several articles where I think we cut on the wrong end. So I think we're administration heavy, and I think that we need to flip that funnel upside down, and we need to pay people that are closest to educating our children like we pay our doctors and lawyers.
Ellen.
Yeah. The thing that pops up in my head mostly is educating the children. We've been so busy worried about graduation rate when, you know, you can push anybody through. I mean, they take these tests that don't really count as anything. They just push them on through, but now our graduation rate's up. What does that have to do with educating the children? And I know from being in the schools, I see a whole lot of testing going on months at a time where these teachers have to teach to the test, using words like delineate and cite and things that maybe we heard in college. My son graduated 2 years ago, and he told me some of those words he'd never even seen in college. Why are they at the elementary school? Because they're on the test. We need to stop testing them so much. We need to, I think up to 5 times a year we test them, a ridiculous amount of testing. We also need discipline back in our schools. The children are running amok. And there is nothing. There is, positive, 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 positive. Well, there has to be something that stops them, that says, I love you enough to stop you. Stop. And making the parents more involved in all of that, too. So we have too much testing. We have there was a third one, let me think. Too much testing. The teachers having to teach the test, no discipline, and there wasn't, well, those are the 3, I guess. But we need to be educating these children. They are everything to us. They are so valuable. And they come from all walks of life, like Andrew was saying. It's amazing what comes to us. I am in full support of vouchers and parents deciding where their children go to school. I totally support that. And I am in, of course, fiscal responsibility. It's kind of ridiculous to pay, what, $500,000 for a bathroom in a new school. I just think that that's ignorance run amok. I just think that's crazy. Anyway, so there you go, Andrew.
Andrew.
For me, there's in a couple of points. Parents know what is best in raising their kids. The public school does not. Forcing our students to use co-ed bathrooms at a cost to the taxpayer in our new schools is a violation of parental rights. Going in and renovating the existing schools and putting these bathrooms is a violation of parental rights. One part of Common Core that's not talked about a lot is Common Core calls for the data mining of our kids, where they take these tests that collect data on them that is stored in Carson City. That's a violation of parental rights. The taxpayers know what is best for their money than the school district. I think that's been proven over and over again. Our money needs to go into the classroom. If it's not going into the classroom, if it's not benefiting the education of our kids, it should not be spent. We need to take a look at every single dollar. Does it impact the education of the kids? If it does, great. If it doesn't, it needs to stop. Running a deficit when you're not getting the job done is the definition of a failed industry. Teachers know what is best for their classroom. We need to give them the resources. Administrators should not be getting cars paid for by taxpayers if kids don't have books. That makes no sense. The review I saw in the RGJ that is recommending the district cut, 22 cars for administrators? Cut them all. They can pay for their own cars like everybody else. Principals know what is best for their schools. We don't need all of these administrators. The principal is the administrator of their school. Give them the resources to do what is best for their school in their community. Cold Springs and Spanish Springs are not the same. Let them do what is best for their community. We are not getting it done in the classroom. 10% of our kids are prepared for college. I agree with Diane, not every kid's going to go to college, but what that means is 90% are not getting an education. The ACT tests on English, math, reading, and science, basics, and our average in Nevada is a 17.8, which is last in the nation. Washoe County is a 17.9. So when they're out there saying, well, we're better than the state, technically that's true, but ask them what the score is. 17.9 is nothing to brag about. We are not getting it done. That is the facts of it. That is simple. The only way we're going to get change is to elect new people to hold the superintendent accountable. Deborah Feemster is going to do the same thing over and over again. She's just going to rinse and repeat the same failed policies. That's why she's not here. That's why she's not going in front of the people, because she doesn't represent anything new. That is the only way we're going to get this changed, is to put it back into the hands of the public, do what they want, get out of the way of teachers and principals, and cut down on our wasteful spending.
Thank you. One more statistic that would be of interest. In a school district, like I say, of about 64,000, Washoe County has 5 district superintendents in addition to our main superintendent. The average school district of 64,000 has 0 district superintendents, and Los Angeles Unified, which has 640,000 students, 10 times the size of Washoe, only has 6 district superintendents. At this time, I'll take this microphone, and we would love questions from the audience. You can ask it to a particular candidate. You can ask to have them respond to them. Just what concerns you. It doesn't have to be necessarily insider education issues, but as parents, grandparents, neighbors of the children that come through, and our panel here, again, with ultimate responsibility for what goes on in our schools, so we look for some good questions.
Well, this is my hot button. It took 2 minutes to get this morning. I've had information before. The average school superintendent in the United States of America makes $156,000 a year. We have over 20 administrators making more than $200,000. The superintendent, I could only get 2017, but it was $384,000 plus benefits. So we know this year, I think it's at close to at $400,000, and then of course the car issue. And most people know that, if you care about that, and we're running a deficit. What I want to know, and any of you can answer, is what are we going to do about it? Are we just going to rubber stamp again, and are we going to get rid of the superintendent who is failing in every department? And I understand that she was given a letter of not succeeding, and yet the school board just went right ahead and let her continue. And what would you do? And each of you could ask, how can you change it? I mean, I think if all 4 of you are on the board, I doubt you could get it done, but you're going to be swimming uphill. And how can it happen? And how can that get out that far out of control? Somebody's got to be asleep at the wheel.
That's why we need a new board. I'll be brief, and then I'll pass it on. She was rated as minimally effective. They just gave her a 3-year renewed contract, essentially a poison pill that we're stuck with. We've talked about that. There may be issues we can do, but it's a poison pill we were given. And yes, her and the entire group underneath her are extremely overpaid compared to their Clark County counterpart, compared to what the Washoe County counterpart makes, or Reno, et cetera, and we do have to deal with it.
I'm going to agree with what Mr. Church said, and the unfortunate part is these decisions were made way before us. How did it get out of hand? By not electing people that were fiscally responsible or that understood the fiscal responsibilities of the school board. I said this at a previous forum, which when I was made aware of it was quite shocking. Tracy Davis came up with Pedro, who we paid off to leave as superintendent. Well, the top four underneath her, between her chief of staff and his partner happens to be the director of special ed, and then her assistant chief of staff, her partner happens to be the budget director. So between those four people that work underneath and answer to our superintendent, their annual compensation is $1 million. There is something wrong. Unfortunately, yeah, these are contract negotiations. I believe that with a change in the board and hopefully bringing someone that is already sitting on the board along with new people, that we can stop curtailing this. Let's stop allowing this train to run amok with us.
Yeah. I think it's ridiculous. I think, I know at the school level, there's a lot of scuttlebutt about, well, they seem to think it's just tax dollars. But, it's nobody's paying for it. It's just tax dollars. Excuse me? Yes, we're paying for that. It's not just tax dollars. And I don't know what the answer would be. If I had my way, a lot of people would get a lot of pink slips. But I think they should also sit down with a piece of paper and write down exactly what it is they do that benefits our children. What it is you do that benefits our children. But I don't know if that's possible. Like she said, it's a contract issue. However, we do live in a right-to-work state. But it makes my head want to explode to think what they've done. And the money doesn't get to the schools. It doesn't get to the schools. The teachers are spending all kinds of money and they just don't make that much in the first place, comparatively speaking especially. And so there's that.
It comes down to the foundation of the problem, and that is this current board doesn't care what the people think. If they did, we wouldn't be in this position because the public overwhelmingly has no faith in our superintendent. And that has a lot to do with the compensation and the results. I don't know if a lot of people would have a real big issue with her compensation if we were getting it done in the classroom. If our school district was performing at a very high level, significantly outperforming the other counties in Nevada. But that's not happening. And when you give an executive like this a multi-year contract, the money is contractually obligated to be paid out. So if we went on the board and decided we wanted to remove her from office, we can do that, but we still have to pay her. And then we have to pay a new superintendent that we would be asking to come in and fix a mess. And this individual may want to be compensated proportionately. So I'm not in favor of multi-year contracts, for one, because not many other people get that. Why does she get this essentially cushion to just kind of coast for a little while and you're good to go? And if the school board decides she's done her job, she gets a bonus. A bonus for the superintendent for basically just meeting your job as is expected is ridiculous. That's called a salary. There's a reason why morale of our teachers is low, because they see administrators making all this money. They see the cars, but yet they're told you have 170 kids, you have 35 books, you have to make it work. That is why teacher morale is low. That's why teachers don't want to teach here anymore. That's the problem. And Tracy Davis doesn't get it. Deborah Feemster held up the vote on her contract, asking her fellow board members to raise her salary higher. Raise it up. More years, more money. She can't sit up here and face the people because that is in direct conflict with what the public wanted. And the 2 board members that voted no were criticized because they weren't team players. I would have voted no on that contract in a heartbeat. She has lost the trust of the public, and I do not believe she can fix our issues here because of that.
Could I ask, Diane, I'll direct this question to you, because we were at another meeting, and I think I know how they feel. I don't believe you were there. I'm not sure. But anyway, we were, as a Christian leader, we're very upset about these co-ed bathrooms. And we asked Tracy Davis about it. And she tried to blame it off on Title IX, saying that it was out of her control, there's nothing she could do. And I simply don't believe that. I don't think, and I speak for this church, I think I know their heartbeat. There's not one person here that wants a teenage boy in the bathroom with a young girl, even though they have private stalls. It's ridiculous. The people are upset about it, and yet there seems to be nothing we can do about it. What's your idea on that?
Well, first of all, I don't know what Title IX is, so I would have to research that. I grew up in the Washoe County School District, and we had, there were separate bathrooms. It's been explained to me, because I have asked the question also, that it's for safety issues and that it's a European style. So I can't directly, other than the fact of I was raised that way, my children were raised that way, and my granddaughters are being raised that way. So, and if it comes down to spending money on it, I can't say that I think we should.
I think she's factually wrong, legally and factually wrong. We're not obligated to do that. She's misinterpreting the law like they continue to do. You read it in the paper every day. She's just factually wrong. We do not have to. And it's not just a young teenage boy in there. I could go in there. I mean, it's ridiculous. Any pervert, anybody, which is not me, but any pervert can go in there and be in the same bathroom. It's absolutely ridiculous, and no, it's not required by law.
Title IX was passed by Congress in the 70s. To change Title IX takes an act of Congress. Bureaucrats in Washington or Carson City can't just change what a law says based on what we feel today. Congress has to pass the law. Title IX protects students on the basis of their sex. I deal with Title IX at the university. Everyone asks me, why does the University of Nevada or all the other schools have 12 women's sports and 4 men's sports? Because football feels like there's 1,000 people on the team. Title IX makes sure that there's equality. What they're doing now is they're trying to say Title IX protects students that decide one day they're going to be a different gender. Gender identity and sex are not the same thing. If Congress wants to pass a law allowing Title IX to protect gender identity, they are free to do so. That has not happened. So for Washoe County to do this, say their hands are tied, it's the law, well, the first time they get challenged on it, if there's an incident, if there's a lawsuit, they're going to have a hard time defending themselves because that's not what the law is. It's what it comes down to. This is what they want. This is what they want. That's it. This is what they want, and they can do it. Is there anything saying that they can't do it in the law? No. The people elected a board that wanted to do it. They intentionally did not tell the public in their WC1 campaign that this is what they wanted to do in new schools, because I believe if they did, or a lot of yay votes would have switched to no on the ballot. This is what they want. That's as plain and simple, and they won't want to tell the people that because the people don't want it. We had someone actually in this church from France, and they told us that France is all co-ed bathrooms. It happens a lot in Europe. But there's one place where co-ed bathrooms do not exist, and that's in their schools. There's a reason why this is not in schools. It's someone else's kid. And as a board member, I do not want to be on the board when someone comes before us and says, my child had an issue in that bathroom. We can't afford books. We will not be able to afford a lawsuit.
Yeah. And it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous to think that we should have children sharing bathrooms. They are kids. And we're talking about first and second graders, too. I can't imagine having those little kids come back, the girls in tears, just because there were boys in there. You know, they're just little babies. And why do we feel like we have to be progressive? Because I think all the word progressive really means is that we're just going to rob our children of their innocence. And instead of preserving as much as we can, just take it away from them and let them deal with it. I don't think it's right.
Okay, good questions. Thank you. Good answers, candidates. We'll close by going down the line. If you just kind of summarize your candidacy and why people should vote for you.
Okay, once again, my name is Jeff Church, candidate for Washoe County School District. I run a website, renotaxrevolt.com, and I went through my basic issues: student safety, number one, fiscal responsibility, and innovative ideas to improve education. We have a 2,000-pound elephant in the room. We're building 3 new schools, opening virtually a year from today. We have no money to staff them. It would cost approximately $15 to $20 million a year to staff these schools. And even if we had the money, where are we going to get the warm bodies, the qualified teachers, staff, police, bus drivers, et cetera? So we're going to be taking on a task. And again, I think I'm the best candidate. I do have a sense of humor. I brought a picture of my opponent, Jackie Calvert, on a milk carton. And so I don't think there's much of a debate here as far as my district. You have 2 wonderful ladies here. I wish they could both come on, because that's the real tough choice you have, and they're wonderful people, and I'll pass it on to Deanne.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate that. Again, I'm Diane Vanderwell, and I'm running for Washoe County School Board Trustee District B. And I forgot in the introduction what that is that's pretty much all of Sparks, up to Kylie Ranch and the top of Sun Valley. One of the reasons I am running is that I think our young people and students need to have a choice. And not everybody's prepared to go to college, but they need to have the opportunity that they have the choice for college, for the military, or for a trade school or something like that. But I think it needs to be something that they can support themselves and their family, because I have spent 30 years here. I am a licensed mortgage agent, and I've watched affordability go out. And then the other thing is and I've said this before, I think what's happening with the trustee board is that the tail's wagging the dog. And I believe with my previous leadership skills that I can bring to the board to make staff understand that they are advisors to us, and that ultimately that we are making decisions based upon who elected us. And so we need to be the ear to the public so that when we are sitting up there, that our constituents and the community and the people, when they speak, we need to take that under consideration, and we can't just keep rubber stamping what staff says we need to do.
And I'm Ellen Minetto, running for the B district also, as she said, most of Sparks. I'm running because I feel like the children are not considered. We want to rob innocence from our children. And the school, I've been in the schools for many, many years, and I see that the money does not get to the schools, that the teachers are frustrated, they have to teach to tests, they're subbed out an awful lot of the time. All this stops them from teaching. And I believe that the parents should have the right to help decide, and I totally believe that as school board members, we have to listen to our public, because they're the ones that elected us. We can't just say, oh yeah, but that's not really what you want, because we want this. I feel like there's an awful lot of agenda going on, an awful lot of secret stuff that, daytime meetings, that's ridiculous. And And I feel like I could represent my children, my students, my community, my fellow teachers, and the people running the schools better than other people. Thank you.
Andrew Caudill, District C, everything north of the city centers. The school district is called the public school district because it's yours. It belongs to you. It's your money. It's your kids. That's why elected officials oversee the district. If it wasn't yours, there would be no elected officials. And this school board has completely forgotten who they answer to. They don't answer to the superintendent. It's the other way around. The superintendent answers to the school board. The school board answers to the public. It is your school district. People of District C have a real choice this year. You can re-elect Deborah Feemster, who is going to take this thing in the same direction. She's going to do what Tracy Davis wants and ignore the will of the people. That's what she's done since she's been in office. She's not coming to these things because she doesn't want to get out in front of people. She just wants to run off the clock and coast her way in. I believe that it's about you. It's your district. Parents are your kids. Taxpayers, it's your money. Teachers, it's your classroom. Principal, it's your school. We need to put more resources into the individual to build them up. This giant bureaucracy that we have is never going to get it done. There's too many agendas. There's too many people that are only out for their own salary instead of out for their kids. We're not getting it done in Washoe County. It's plain and simple as that. I've talked to many taxpayers that have asked me, well, I don't have kids. Why does it matter to me? It matters to you because, one, it's your money, and two, you live here. Your return on your investment of your tax dollars is a booming economy of Washoe County driven by an educated workforce coming out of our local schools. Until that happens, we're going to have to rely on California people coming here to keep our economy going. If that stops, we're in trouble here. Tracy Davis is not getting it done. The current school board is not getting it done. You have the choice in November to choose who you want to represent you and your schools so we can take our schools back for the public. Thank you.
We want to thank Church Jesus Christ Spirit-Filled here in Sparks for hosting this today. The pastors, the staff, really appreciate your interest and support of this. We want to thank our candidates for participating. On behalf of RenoElections.org, we would urge the candidates to never lose sight of the fact that the decisions you make on a year-to-year basis will affect not only the 64,000 children, but the families. Literally, your actions will have an impact on 250,000 people a year. It's appropriate being hosted here in a church today. In 1776, when our nation was founded, a pastor named John Muhlenberg gave a sermon. And, you know, at the time of the Revolution, it's not often well known, only about 25% of America was wanting to fight the British. 75% just figured if we let things go, it'll go away. And in a famous sermon, Pastor Muhlenberg said, "There's a time for all things. There's a time to fight, and that time is now." And in the school board race, there's never been more of a time to fight for Reno's future, for our children's future. And we just hope and pray for all of you to be the candidates of character and integrity and moral leadership that our community needs. So thank you very much.